Hey yo, what's up everybody? Apologies, I'm a little behind, but happy to join you today on Saturday, which is our normal fight day, but for UFC schedules as far as that goes. But got a little bit of a break on the holiday week. We had some PFL though the night before. I'll touch on that. Just got done catching up on the main event, I should say, while I made a smoothie, which exploded on me. Part of the reason why I'm late. Exploding smoothie machines. Getting hit by cars and all the like. These actually are real. Yes, just because I stopped, that doesn't mean my crazy chaotic juju hasn't. That never sleeps, baby. That never sleeps. It's like the streets. That being said, man, I'm happy to join you guys. All things being said, silver lining. I'm here. You're here. That's pretty cool. Be sure to hit the like button as you're piling in. See Rain Lamina, Ghost Phantom. Some of the usuals, my guy Tyler, TB Scouting, of course, of Chronic Combat Conversations, which also in the chat if you want to give them a click and subscribe. I love those guys. I hope they're doing well. Both Greg, Guru, Tyler, TB, and the like. So thank you guys. If you don't mind, I'm going to be sharing and cutting time here. Because again, I'm so professional here with my podcasting. So I'm going to go ahead and hit some shareage here. Feel free to do the same. It's always appreciated. We'll do more proper plugs here as I go in because it's holiday time. I was going to try to hit you guys like the day before Thanksgiving. That didn't really happen. And I was going to be like a madman and do it on the day of Thanksgiving because I know I live in America. I'm an American, but like I'm a bad American in the sense of like I'm not a big football fan. All good if you are. Not a big fan of Thanksgiving. The holiday, the food, which is like completely blasphemous to say. Nothing wrong if you love those things, folks. I wish you nothing but the best. Hopefully, you had a great day with friends and family. But yeah, I was like, it's like a lot of my listeners aren't American, and the ones that do, it's not a really uncommon feeling to feel the way I do about living in America, period, holidays, all the craze, ain't gonna get us the days. Sorry, but people who love Thanksgiving and don't love Thanksgiving, I think the common ground, I think where we all agree on, right, is that like we should be, and even people that I love Thanksgiving say this, we shouldn't need a holiday to be grateful for family and friends. So definitely that's what I try to focus on. I'm definitely grateful for you guys and wishing everybody, no matter what they celebrate, no matter what their religion, country of origins, countries of stay are, like I just wish you a good day, a good Thursday. So hopefully y'all had a good Thursday. I ended up actually getting to see family members that I have no excuse not to see who live in the States. So that was part of the reason, picking up on that previous thought of why I didn't join you guys or give you guys something for Thanksgiving listening. Because, again, if anything, maybe for like the holiday time, you're stuck, you need something to listen to. I wanted to give you guys something there. So apologies on that failure. And then Black Friday came around, which would have been a great day. But I'm terrible at promotion, so I'm going to do that now. And to be honest, like all the Black Friday sales have been going on since the beginning of the month. Like, your boy here had to shell out for another TV sooner than I wanted to. But thankfully, I was like, if I'm going to have to bite this bullet, maybe I could look at the silver lining that I'm buying around Black Friday time. And with the internet, and then not just with the internet where it's at today, since the pandemic and that chaos, it's kind of always the weekend. It's kind of always the holiday. There's kind of always sales going on. So you were getting Black Friday sales from like the beginning of the month. So it didn't really feel like as important of a date, right? And everything is parlaying over into like Cyber Monday. Like I'll read some Amazon reads here in a bit, folks. I appreciate your guys' support on that end, especially this time of year. I know it's not the greatest company, but it's one of the trying to stay afloat as much as I can. And I'm not gonna lie, those of you who do click through the Onnit and Amazon click throughs over at mixedmartialanalyst.com do help. Everything kind of helps right now, but I will get to those and the shouts of those of you who do regularly support the show and deserve the shouts. I'm gonna get that. I got you guys written down. I did prepare that, so you guys are on my mind. But yeah, it just I don't know. Like I'm like I can do a weekend show. There's no UFC. Again, there was PFL as well. So like the window on when to do a show, was kind of closing on me yesterday. Oh, I also got to see my guy James Lynch. Shout out to James Lynch. Speaking of channels to subscribe to, whether you're just an MMA fan or even if you're like, you know, the niche, the gamblers that I speak to you on the show, we're going to recap picks and plays too coming up, folks. One of the things, and thank you guys for adding to the chat. I'm going to be getting you guys. Shortly as I pop some of you on the screen. There's Chronic Combat Conversations there. Sorry, just trying to do do too much at once right now. So apologies. I'm getting the last tweets out, and you guys will have my complete attention. I promise you that. But yeah, the windows for yesterday was kind of like too tight to do. Oh, my guy James Lynch. That's right. James Lynch. Go to his channel. He's really good at. He is one of the hardest working dudes. So he works like everywhere it feels like, but he's really good at being on top. Unlike me, he's really good about being on top of his YouTube stuff and kind of aggregating for his interviews. Again, even if you're like a niche just gambler, like it's really useful, as far as like, going and getting references, see what they're up to in camp, things that they're not covering, things that you might not get till fight week, if at all, right? Because, shouts to my guys, Oscar Willis, by the way, I'll recap that night. I'll touch on that a bit. My guy, Jose Youngs, my guy Ken Hathaway, the Junkie Crew, of course. But like, yeah, I mean, aside from the good people, Mike Heck does a great job, with their questions and whatnot. There's a lot of people that just want to kind of get their voice heard. So it's like, those scrums generally aren't the greatest. So, again, support, interviews, people who interview the smaller show fighters, the smaller shows that are doing the interviews themselves. Make sure you give them the loves, likes, and subscribes. It really helps. Not that James is small; he is a well-respected and well-known name. But I'm just saying, a great reference and stuff for people that are newer and that have been joining me lately. I want to make sure I'm giving these people some shouts, and it's just nice to be reminding yourself, speaking of Jose Youngs and Oscar Willis, we had MMA Fighting, the Mac Life and Junkie in a fight corner, last weekend ago or whatever it was now. I don't know. I wasn't even in the fight. I just been hitting the head too much, it feels like. But like, I don't know, man. It's great to see this kind of unity, Speaking of my other brothers from the north there, Aaron Bronstetter, of course, I'll shout him and work with him as well. And these people are just kind of reminders of, like, it can be really easy to be like, competition or whatever. You see all the beefs from these fighters, high-level UFC broadcast team, media members, gamblers, MMA Twitter, all sections. No one is above it is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to throw mud. I'm just saying you see it, and it's easy to focus on the negative, and I think it's important to remember the positives. There are some really good people in this space, more than willing to help. And, this was a conversation I recently had, and I've had a lot of these reminders, recently. So yeah, just want to give some friendly shouts, and I'll round that up after I give a nice share here. I see the chat's popping off. Make sure you guys are hitting the like, and I will make sure I get to you guys, especially on this show. Especially on this show, right? So let's see here. And a refresh, tweet out. I was gonna ask, by the way, any movie fans out there? Do you guys have any of my listeners out there like movie fans where they have and don't worry, it's cool. Like, you won't come off as like being a douche or bragging, but if I'm just curious. What are your guys' movie setups? Any home theater people out there, from real basic, just like soundbar and a TV pairing, to like the whole shebang? What brand TV do you favor, this or that? If you want to let me know what you're rocking, mainly for gaming, mainly for movies. That's the kind of rabbit holes I've been going down lately. Just curious what your guys' preference are, because I know a lot of you guys are movie people, and you guys appreciate when I bring up the movie stuff, which we'll be talking about here in the Amazons. So, in the Amazon read-throughs. So, just curious on that. So, feel free to add that in the chat. And we will get to the recaps and questions. I'll probably start off with just acknowledging some of y'all, since you guys are popping off so early. Don't want to make you sit through any more of me than I'm making you out. I'm getting the last tweet out, and I will get to you on that note in that second. So, I'm just going to give a good old live now. If you care to join the chat. Dan, why are you talking like fucking Quagmire? You care to join the chat? Alright. Easy, Dan. Come on now. Live now, if you care to join the chat. I have to repeat it because I'm very, I'm very challenged. Very challenged. I gotta read things out. Comprehension is not great, folks. Comprehension is not great. But I'm here and now I can focus on what you guys are saying. All right, TB Scouting, what's up? Smash the like button, people. That's right. Listen to TB and smash the like button. Well, we got Mark Fellows, my guy Mark. Mark, I think last time I talked to you was last week, but I hope you're doing well, brother. I love talking to Mark Fellows. Just a good dude on the timelines, even in the DMs. And not to sound creepy, Mark's not sending anything more than beer pictures, folks. Don't take that the wrong way. Just saying, he's a good dude all around. Wow, Dan, why do you have to clarify that? Ghost Phantom, hey Dan, I've been playing around with the sequence from my southpaw stance where I throw the left hand head kick multiple times so the opponent backs and then fake kick into orthodox and throw a right elbow. I like that. Thoughts on that move? I like that. I would say you could probably do two birds with one stone. Now I'm speaking biasly because Ryan Wagner, shouts to him. I believe that was the last podcast we did. We did a recap. So technically, I've given you still one a week despite missing that last show. It's like one of those weird things where I'm coming. It's almost 2 weeks, but technically one a week. I kind of cheated there. But shouts to Ryan Wag. He got me on a lot of some Southpaw Muay Thai fighters, and just with my style in general, surprise, surprise, I went with more of the body attack guy, Sidichai, who is still relevant and doing a lot of good work and really improved his boxing in his later career. But his traditional format, if you will, I guess, is southpaw body kick building. And you can still get those reactions of getting people to back up and respect power and kind of kick into their arms, just as much as you would a head kick, as far as, you're killing multiple stones there, so you're keeping their right hand in check and possibly damaging it, right, if they're orthodox, especially. And then the body kick building, especially if you go teep to tie kick, they're trying to guess between which one is coming with that, and it almost just makes question mark kicks super easy. And if you want to do change-ups to leg or rear leg attack, you have those if you're dealing with an open stance matchup. And if you're getting the respect that you're looking for, that you're talking about, Ghost Phantom, and getting him to kind of, multiple times blocks and then fake it, so you can step into an orthodox stance, you're going to need some respect off that. Body kicks are a good way to kind of get that. Now, if you're in MMA, your takedown defense, your bottom game isn't great, and they have a potent way to win the fight there, then I think body kicks, in my opinion, are the easiest to catch and get taken down off of. So there is that, if in case there is that scenario. But yeah, I think the body kick building can even build into what you're talking about as far as shifting, because I don't know, I rarely shift to throw a right elbow, so I'd be curious to see. I'm more like a Poirier, like shifting into that right-handed stance, or I've been watching a lot of Hagler stuff lately. Of course, a right-handed southpaw who shifts, right? Go figure. Whether dummies and low-level guys like myself or actual world champions like Poirier gravitate to that, not a surprise. So, yeah, it builds into all that. Ray Lamina, the Bobby Knuckles of jokes and chuckles, to the Angela Lee of screaming robbery, and the George St. Pierre of training on a lawn chair. Dan Thomas the bomb. I appreciate these, and you, Rain Lamina, even the ones that could get me in trouble reading. Burgundy, we'll read what's on the monitor. Jimmy Kudo, hi Dan. Would you recommend an orthodox fighter to stop getting hit with opponents with how would you recommend an orthodox fighter to stop getting hit with opponents with right-handed attacks? This is each their own, man. This is something I have to work on myself as far as keeping the lead hand up, which sounds really basic, but you'd be surprised as far as engagements, more importantly retractions, is where that's going to fall short. Rolling off of your, not just your rights to avoid the counter hooks, but even, learning kind of roll-offs and step-offs to the other side where you're using off your own hooks, or even jabs and straights and getting that lateral, rolling your head down as a safety, keeping it behind the shoulder as well as you roll. whenever you take those pivots or outside angles, maybe even opening up to it, so you kind of start, keeping the option whether you're feinting with your right hand, and that hard feint with the right hand may lead into a more darting right hand, a la Eddie Alvarez style, which I know he still ran into a lot of traffic early too, for a lot of different reasons, and if you're not careful, you can kind of dart into that power side, so you got to be careful how you play that. There's plenty of much more high-level coaches and fighters that would give more in-depth and better examples than what I'm giving you, but those are basic things to come to mind. Some things stated by those fighters themselves, I want to say it was Josh Barnett versus Roy Big Country Nelson in Japan, and Barnett, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, fought a lot of that southpaw, at least until he closed into the clinch. And he said there was a specific reasoning for that, if memory serves, that he said he felt it just gave more distance, which it does. You're switching to an open stance, but using that distance allowed him better vision. Now, that's probably more of a personal preference thing. And again, you're opening yourself up to a lot of defensive liabilities and a whole different dynamic switch to shift, much less meaningfully fight from your opposite stance. But again, even heavyweights, even old dogs learning new tricks, like Barnett at that point of his career, found a lot of help with that to navigate a guy who's mainly known, Roy Nelson, for his deadly right hand. So that is the long, short answer for you, sir. Makoto Kayagoku, PYN, Drake Riggs, and Jack Slack are now my only go-to MMA podcasts and shows. I appreciate that, and I hope we all stick around, because like a lot of my favorites, like aren't, or like maybe losing losing steam and moving in a different direction, which I don't blame them. Shoot, I don't know how much longer I can keep covering this, both financially mainly, and just emotionally and stuff. But good news. I mean, we'll see. Finances are ultimately what's going to decide this for me. Potential contract negotiations, hopefully, these things, so forth, behind the scenes, folks. But I will say I am getting a little more optimistic, because I think like it was just that crazy run. Last time I talked to you guys was like my phone, which I got fixed, TV, which I didn't get fixed. Long story. Samsung service department. I know, flashback. That's why I just went and I just shelled out. Back to the previous comment. Computer, which I'm still dealing with issues on, and I'm gonna I'm just trying to have it slug through, folks, to this break, and I'm gonna do a big regroup and do the things that I was finally promising once I get this computer fixed. And then I didn't want to, I finally got my garage home gym fixed, and it was much cheaper and much faster than I thought, although I had to wait a bit for framers with that whole ordeal. So that thing is up and running, the dojo, which is good. It helped me get this weight that I'm putting back on here slowly. But the one thing left was, I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to put in fruition, was my FJ, my baby, my investment. I gotten, I'm okay. Actually, it could have been a lot worse. Gotten a little bit of a fender bender accident, and so I got to go do. There was some slight body work I had to go do anyways, and at the same time I was going to do some interior paint when I had the money, which hasn't been the case. So now when I finally go to my body shop guy, I'm going to have a bigger slate for him. But yeah, no, everything's driving. It's driving fine. It's a beast. It's a beast. The unkillable engine. We're doing okay. I'm just happy to be here. But yeah, man, I don't want to complain. There's plenty of people who have it worse. I know plenty of people who have it worse. I know plenty of people who have lost people, or even plenty of people. So I do not want to complain. But yeah, those of you keeping score at home, from little things, big things within MMA, inside the cage, bad beats to appliance beats. I mean, part of the reason, back to why I'm trying to be optimistic and push on into next year as much as I can to keep covering and doing this, because there is no way, back to degenerate gambling terms, this is the Protect Your Neck podcast, there is no way your boy isn't due, right? There is no way, I want the people who don't say robbery saying robbery next year, and I want to cash the biggest checks on this shit, and nobody can give me shit for it if that's the case. And of course, I'll try to be as classy as I can be taking it. But oh boy. So yeah, we'll get to one more, and then we will maybe two more, and then I'll push on to these recaps and stuff. I just had a smoothie and some coffee, so I might have to do one of those quick run to the bathroom breaks, which always throws people off, and I don't have great production to do so. So we'll see. Synchro Link dances. Most of us in your chat train MMA. How important is it to not gatekeep opinions, or is that a bad question since everyone is entitled to their opinion? I guess follow up on gatekeep opinions, but that sounds like a really good question, Synchro Link. Is that a bad question since everyone is entitled to their own opinion regardless of their MMA level? I think I know what you mean, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I think just, always have a good filter for what works and what doesn't, even amongst people you respect and are qualified to give the opinions, because there'll be people that are qualified to give opinions that maybe you don't agree with, and in fact, arguably, maybe it's good that you don't agree with, right? I mean, when we watch from a perspective, we're seeing things in the UFC, and say what you will about UFC level, it is UFC level. It is the quote-unquote, air quotes, high level, or represents the highest level. Not that there's not high-level talents in other organizations, which we'll talk about. So, yeah, I mean, gatekeep, that is good, yes, but also keep in mind that, even if someone has a quote-unquote high MMA level, that doesn't mean they're going to have the answer for everything. They shouldn't have the answer for everything. So, to help filter that, I don't want to say don't open yourself up to opinions, because you should. I would just say don't put yourself in those positions to, have some dude, what's the meme where the girl's the Paris Hilton girl sitting with the fake boobs at the baseball game, and the bro dude's like, listen here. There's that guy version of that too, right, is what you're saying. There's no way to never avoid it and to not avoid it. You're always going to get that from really well-meaning people that you might even consider your friends. But the best thing is just don't, which I have a problem too, because I'm just such a nice guy and I want to give people that respect, and I am curious of other people's opinions. But yeah, sometimes they'll really give you their opinions, so you got to be careful of that. And you know what? The MMA gym is probably, MMA or Jiu-Jitsu gyms, maybe just good not to ask for the people's opinions anyways. Just if you find a good person, a good training partner, appreciate and love that person, and just don't ask for their opinions. It's all love, but it's a wacky world out there. So yeah, you got to have your own filters, man. Be positive and try to spread that love as much as you can and reciprocate it. But yeah, filter it as best you can too, right? If that makes sense. James Kendrick, what is worse, Dan? High gas prices? Oof, that is bad. Bigotry in MMA, also bad. MMA fan base, also, yeah, really bad. Scoring non-leveraging shots. Oh, you're going to get me with this one. Dan, over racism? Scoring non-leveraging shots highly to the person whose back is taken. Oh, it's bad. Judges ignoring technical body work. Yeah, that's a really good question, boy. No, obviously, as far as pet peeves, I mean, I'll put gas prices on the tail end, because that's the typical big truck American thing to complain about. And since I technically have a thing you could be considered a big truck, although it's an adventure vehicle, god damn it, it's a nerdy hipster vehicle, and it's only 33s. It's not that big of tires. But no, yeah, I will just skip that one. It's so funny, man. That's also I love when either side calls me one side or the other, because I'm not a left or right guy, but I'll get called woke this, woke that, and I'm just it's so funny how many right adjacent things I'm really into, outdoors, off-roading, MMA, jiu-jitsu. It's funny. So again, that's why the Asian Bill Burr thing. I'm just I'm aggressively not anybody. But bigotry in MMA is a bad one, though. This is where my moral compass is definitely left leaning, and I'll take this to say this is a good. Not that excuse is the right word, and you shouldn't always need an excuse, but sadly this shit always comes up. But my Jewish brothers and sisters. Shout out to my guy Ben Cohn of the Fight Site, by the way, doing like self-defense classes. And I heard other people doing it. I want to say Renee from the Fight Something podcast, the guy in New York, did it for like Stop Asian Hate, and did like self-defense classes and stuff. Just a lot of anti-Semitic stuff from always long history, obviously, like throw a dart at a board and you'll be hard pressed not find a time in the space-time continuum board, and you'll be hard pressed not to find a time that the Jews weren't getting it. But also speaking of other marginalized group, LGBTQ, gay and trans, I've always said it on here. This podcast is a representation of myself, and just because we grew up around things, or grew up around gay family members, or had black friends, or this or whatever you want to insert there, like, that doesn't mean you understand things, obviously. It doesn't mean you're going to grow up to be a good and understanding person, unfortunately, right? But yeah, I don't know if it's because like I the gay uncle tropes who I were in my purview growing up and stuff. It was a normal thing. Like, yeah, man. I just want to shout out to that community, because just always fucking getting shit and and stuff like that. So, I was talking. I was like, man, if I'm trying to get my dojo. It's like literally behind me right now. It's like, man, I definitely want to like get like groups together of friends and stuff to train and this and that. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just another reason. I think shout out to Doc Hop on Twitter. I was talking to her about this. Whether it's like no matter what the space is, if you're having a group, you're actually going out and making the time to help protect marginalized communities, like my guy Ben Cohn, shout out to him. Or you're just in the gym. It's what me and Doc Gop were talking about, like, or like in like these kind of common spaces. It's like I always felt the need, like, whether I was teaching the class, if it was like a kid's class, saw a kid who's like shy and like probably not getting all the attention, or he gets picked on for one reason or another, or you see someone that does the jiu-jitsu class you're doing as an adult and they're kind of like new, like it's, and I see other people doing this too. One of my guys, Ernie, I notice is really good about doing this. He'll go up and be like, "Hey, what's your name, man?" and introduce himself. And just making people feel welcome is such a big thing. And I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't try to do that, or try to acknowledge that at the very least, in order to do that more. Because I've spoken about that myself, not feeling welcome in spaces, friends, family, workspaces. I've felt a lot of that disproportionately, one could say. So I would be a hypocrite to not acknowledge that. So yeah, man, I've been trying to really tune out of a lot of the stuff, from like random drama to the more serious stuff like bigotry to the Twitter is shutting down talk. And you guys know me, I'm not like and again, my sister drives a Tesla. I'm not shitting on any of y'all who drive Teslas or like Elon or whatever. I'm just like, I'm not a part of the Billionaire Boys Club. I'm not like going crazy one way or the other, Not a fan of Elon, obviously. So again, no offense. Don't take offense. Whenever you just like say you're not a fan of a billionaire, there's a bunch of dudes that come out like, no, you do, and they start lighting their torches and stuff. But I've been just trying to push away from all that stuff, man. So I've been really quiet. So I apologize if it seems like I'm not there. Apologize if I've been behind on DMs and stuff. But I love all you guys. And as this place, I at least I would like to consider it. Apologies if I've ever give off vibes or off-color jokes in the past. Which I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not above beyond these things if I don't, but if I did, I should say. But I just want to let you all know that, yeah, man, I definitely just want to give my hearts out to those communities being marginalized with a ton of bullshit right now. And it's a real bummer. And I'm sorry I don't have much more to offer than that. I'm sorry if that only seems skin deep. But I'm just being honest with how I feel. So, yeah, let's push on. Zhao Chio, hi Dan, I listen to this podcast to learn tactics and strategies so I can send it to Zhang Wei Li. She has a lot of fans in her stuff through the email. That's awesome. I think she has much better people to be listening to than me, to be honest. So maybe you should just, your space may be more valued by, voicing your love and appreciation for her than sharing anything from me, per se. But I do appreciate it, and I appreciate you being here. So thank you. All right. Basically, I'm going to go Bellator 288 real quick. I only had one play on that. I should have played Vadim Nemkov and stuck with it. I should have stuck with. This is the rule, right? Like I said it the first half of the year, and it really did me well. Where I was like, I felt like I was screaming from the top of a tree. Everybody, rematches don't go the same as, you know, whether it's Whitaker Adesanya, Esparza Namajunas. I kept saying rematches are seldom ever the same in MMA. And boy, that's been hitting at like a 95 to 99% clip, right? Has it not, as far as these rematches go? And I should have just went off of that. The guy had more adjustments to make. He was the younger fighter. You know, and it was a complete kind of line flip to where it showed some line insecurity there. Maybe take advantage of the dreaded V word. Shout out to Joey Odessa value. So Nemkov gets it done. Usman Nurmagomedov gets it done over 5 rounds. I know it wasn't that exciting. It looked good. You know, I swear, every time we bet a round 3, shout out to, I'll get to D-Love and the turmeric tonic here in a second, but shout out to Master of Love, there, Derek Love, not Dustin, but both Loves I've got love for. The round 3 special. The round 3 specials, man, I swear, like, every time, I feel like there's no better way to go into your round 3 bet when you're sweating balls that the ref's going to stop it at the end of round 2, and you're like, just make it. And you're like, yes, there's no way they can survive. The corner's not going to stop it because this is MMA, so they're going to send their guy into the 3rd round, and we're going to cash it, baby. And you can just start tasting the number. You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys have been there with me. I feel like that's the worst omen, because whenever that happens, I feel like back to the 99 to 95% clip percentile guesstimation there. I feel like you end up, what should be 95 to 99% you should hit, it ends up being 95 to 99% you don't hit those somehow. Isn't that funny? And it's like the guy that almost got the finish, maybe he was just like, I'm way ahead, I'm fucking a little tired, let me take a break, and then they end up letting the guy back into the fight or something. You know, not that Patricky really got back into this fight, but you guys know what I'm saying. That was the only play. I didn't, you know me, I never bet too heavy on Bellator. Kizriev defeated Daniel Weichel. Shout out to my guy Mads Burnell, called out Weichel. I think that'd be a fantastic fight. Hopefully Bellator puts that together. Daniel James defeated Tyrell Fortune. Livon Chokieli defeated Roman Feraldo. And some prelim stuff, which I'm not going to go over. Of course, we had UFC. Let's see, how do we do in picks? We went 1, 2. Oh, no. 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2. Maybe a little asterisk there. We'll talk about that one in a sec. 3-2. Jennifer Maya. 4-2. 5-2. Surprise, we're on the wrong end of another close split. Not that I have an issue or care about that one. 5-3. Maria Oliveira. I think we took Maria Oliveira, didn't we? So that puts us at 5-4. We took Hiastan. 5-5. Yeah, we took Silva. So finished 6-5 overall. That's not bad. 6-5 overall. We went 0-1 on our straight pick, ZZ Bottom, which we'll get to here in a second. And I'll read off the others in a second. I apologize, folks. I'm going to do a quick little break, and I'll be right back. We'll finish the recap here, so don't go anywhere, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, unmuted. Look at that. All right, sorry about that, folks. Yeah, and then we went 0-1 straight, like I said. And we went 2-1 in props, which ain't bad because 2 of them were pushes with the Derek Lewis not happening. And we went 2 for 4, although 1 was taken out with the Derek Lewis push, and the one we missed was, of course, ZZ Bottom, Jalka Shimogulov, which we'll get to here in a second. So sorry about that break, folks. Hey, my guy Alvin Yakitori in the chat. Mr. Tom, I must inquire about something important. It seems like after 271 and 281, mainly after Mr. Adesanya fights, the fans seem to engage in rude and toxic conversations. How can we as a community build a more positive environment and speak about these amazing fighters who make this sport? I noticed that too, and again, I was very happy for Pereira, but that was just because I picked Pereira, I bet Pereira, and again with these, although I am, you could accuse me of bias. I am 3% Portuguese, but no, you think I'm like all out Brazilian with my love for guys like Glover, Dubronx, Pereira, but part of me that love comes like Glover's just a good guy. You don't see much good things happen in MMA, so it's hard not to root for these guys, and guys like Pereira and Dubronx who come from the literal bottom. That's the same, but they literally come from the bottom, in the favelas, and they actually they don't forget where they come from when they get from the top, and they actually have like actual legit and and shouts to other fighters like Dustin Poirier who donated to it and have their own great charities as well. Shouts to him. But like these guys that have these favela projects and they're doing that with their world championship statuses and like giving back, like, yeah, I'm a little biased. I can't help but root for them. That being said, Alvin does bring up a good point because there is a lot of I have seen a lot of hate toward Adesanya, and now I almost don't want to acknowledge, like, again, back to the other comment about racism, bigotry. I try not to acknowledge that stuff. I definitely try to engage it. You could argue reporting it goes too far, but like if it's like legit racist stuff, I just, who knows who I'm reporting to at this point, but like, yeah, I'll try to report it, or like I'll mute them, just not give them the satisfaction because like people are sick and they're like, I got blocked. They're like, I just watched Mad Max Fury Road. It's like they're the what do you call the Death Boys or whatever their names are, or whatever, the War Boys, and they're just like, he looked at me, he looked over at me, like they're just like literally out there killing themselves on these streets just for the weirdest acknowledgments that mean nothing. So I try not to give that to them. I try not to feed those things, but I definitely seen that. Some are, more, things that Adesanya have said or associated, shared, and that is much more forgiving to me because, that's your opinion. Like you're more than welcome to have your opinions on that stuff. I'm more than welcome to have mine. I'm lucky enough to have a platform to share them, sure, but don't get it twisted. I'm more than grateful and more than understanding and trying my best not to be hypocritical about those things. So there's a lot of it's that too, I think, Alvin. But usually, I would say people doing that, whether you agree with it or not, they're not going into like the racial or like the weird or the homophobic territories that I've seen. All three people go with Adesanya, like that's definitely weird and not cool. Just weird. But yeah, I've definitely seen that. There are people that can speak to it probably better than I can, and I say that because I know that people have like went on like actually made like media content pieces, threads on the subject. But there's you compare the reactions to black champions to other champions. You could do this a lot of different ways too. Women to men. That's an easy one, right? Heck, I'm guilty of a lot of those things too. As far as like, hey Dan, why don't you, I know the UFC books more male fights than women's fights, but disproportionately of the fights you don't coincidentally get to in the prelims, they happen to be ladies' fights, and that's more than fair for you to throw that in my direction, and I'll own that. But I'm just saying that as a point of it exists. And I'm not saying it exists like I'm better and I'm like the moral standpoint and look how bad everybody else is. And if you're like that, shame on you. Like, I mean, obviously racist shit, shame on you. But I'm just saying, like, as far as like making these comparisons on treatment levels and groups, like, it's absolutely real. It's not a made up thing. You know? So yeah, I see that, Alvin. And I don't know what the answer is for that, you know? I really don't know. I'm definitely no crusader, nor should I be equipped to or given that task. I am just trying my best to be more positive and grateful off people like yourself and the other listeners here, and trying to better myself as time goes on, as I grow older. Don't have an answer to that, man, because when you look at the YouTube comment sections, the Twitter comment sections, it could be pretty overwhelming. That is a big fire to put out. I will just do my best, and hopefully this light that I'm putting up, as small, as dim as it is, seems to be attracting some pretty cool fucking people in you guys. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm going to continue to do that. And although, back to the other person gatekeeping opinions, always important to filter those. That being said, I'm still going to be sure to keep open opinions and perspectives because they can teach and better inform me. But that's just me. I don't have the answer for you guys. Combropolis, Rose, and Dan, how was your Thanksgiving? It was good. It was good. I cooked some elk and some bison meats for me and the lady. I may or may not have had some turkey, which is blasphemous if you know me. I can't be admitting that, but yes, I may or may not have actually had some turkey. Between you and me, right? Did you have fun cornering your friend at that MMA fight? Yeah, that was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun. We talk about decision luck. Boy, the judges were on your boy's side this time. I had a lot of fun. It was great. It was a real wild rush. We had 6 guys competing, so it was kind of awkward because we all know each other more on the opposite corners, and then they put us, of course, like back to back to back. So not that I didn't acknowledge or respect coaches for doing this when they do this on UFC shows, where they'll put like Whitman fighters back to back, and you got to do that balance. It is tough, man, because I'm trying to be I essentially, the way it worked out, I essentially warmed up the first guy, who was the guy I was supposed to fight, oddly enough, and it was kind of a mind fuck because we talk and I wish him the best, and at a certain point, I gotta let that shit go. I had to let that shit go, otherwise it's just gonna eat at me. And it didn't matter anyways, right? With all the injuries that I accrued, I wasn't gonna be able to compete, right? And he's going against another guy who I like, Darnell, by the way. I was thinking of Baywatch. My name's Darnell. Running's my sport. Wow, Dan, over 30-year-old reference. So I would warm up the first fighter. They would go out. Justin cornered him. Justin James. And then I was warming up Oscar because he was the second fight. And then I did the whole thing with Oscar per his request. Not supposed to show favoritism, but obviously Oscar is my guy, right? So that was no problem there. So warmed up Oscar. There's a lot of hurry up and wait in the back. So we're back watching the first fight go on. And they just went to war. And I went to war. And then they come back, go the 3 rounds, and then we go out in the corner. Oscar, who's going against my guy Jeremiah, who's a really good kid. We'll see more of in the future. He's a young kid, and he's going to be sticking with it. And we knew it was going to be a good fight. It was going to be a tough fight, but it was going to be a good fight. Plan was throw a lot of leg kicks because, which we'll get to in the next fight. A lot of the guys didn't know kick defense, and it was about the Monday before, and at the end of the program, and the coach was asking, all right, anything you guys want to touch up on? This is your week to focus on. And one of the guys is like, kicks. I don't feel like my kicks are that good. And, it's like the Ultimate Fighter. Your opponent's in the same room as my guy Jack, right? And Jack's like, I mean, my kicks are great. What are you talking about? And we all start laughing, and I chimed in, and I was like, Coach, it'd be a good opportunity. Kicks are a good opportunity to kill 2 birds with 1 stone because we could also drill kick defense at the same time. And I'm going to guess you guys need that. And everybody was like, oh, shit, we don't know how to defend kicks because it's a novice program in the defense, And they're going against each other, so they're properly matched. So But that is worth noting, right? I'm like, no one's learning kick defense in a week, so Oscar kicks like a mule. Like, he actually really hurt, even just drilling with him. I didn't have leg kick pads on, so I was letting him just kind of belt into my leg a little bit. Oh my God, bad idea. Like, he deadened the shit out of my leg. So I was like, okay, you are going to get this kid with leg kicks, Oscar. If I'm doing this for you with my fucking busted knee, you're hurting my ass. You better pay that forward. And Oscar, he just got caught in the brawl. You know, I'm sure he went over it with his podcast. That's an awesome show, by the way, with him and Dan Hooker. Go check that out. But he just got caught in the brawl. And I'm pretty sure we definitely lost the first round, even though one judge gave it to us 30-27. Like, page note this, guys, but it was just hilarious. I got the complete opposite luck that my gambling gets as far as scoring goes. And it was the complete opposite luck as far as my cornering, because believe it or not, guys, I didn't want to say anything, but I think I've only cornered as far as MMA goes. I've cornered a bunch of other stuff. As far as MMA goes, I think I've only cornered 3 times, and that record is 0-3, right? So I've never been able to be on the winning side of one of these fuckers. I've been in the back during warm-ups for a lot of championship fights, for a ton of the winning fights, but when I actually got to go out there to corner, not just the back or the pre-stuff, to corner, 0-3. So we went 2-0, and I did think we did enough to do 29-28. We were on our way to losing the second round as well, because Oscar got rocked really bad, so I'm like, did the judges just not see him get rocked? He was okay. He was a little bit foggy-eyed, but he answered the doc and official okay that he still wanted to fight. He looked physically able to still go and physically willing to still go. The doc was fine with it, so we go in. It looks like he's losing round 2, and then comes back and drops Jeremiah. And that obviously seals the round. He gets on top. I think finishes the round there, and we're like, okay, well, we're back to wrestling, back to the wrestling room. We're gonna wrestle, we're gonna wrestle, because the leg kicks and the head movement really aren't there. He's just brawling with Jeremiah every time. So we go into the next fight, and it's like pretty close, and we got some takedowns and whatnot, but we're trying to get another one to seal it, because you get on top and you punch, you pretty much get the round in amateur MMA, right? Playing percentages as long as you're active with it. And and I was pretty proud of myself, because we went from a certain point where we were yelling, wrestle, 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 and he got him against the cage, but it was a close round, and we were screaming for the takedown from previous directive, which made sense because he was getting kind of hit in an exchange, but he had the dominant position outside the cage, so about 20-25 seconds left, I changed the messaging to going, strike, seal the round, knowing that there's probably at least one judge in earshot of me, and even if they maybe had the other guy slightly up, if I say strike and seal the round, that may challenge the judge on a subconscious level, whether he realizes it or not. Again, something I learned from my guy Eric Nixick, play knowing that there's at least one judge that's going to be earshot of you. And Oscar, to his credit, just started throwing little uppercuts, and I think that was enough to seal the round. Which maybe we didn't need, because one judge had it 30-27, but he definitely earned the 29-28. And the next fight was hilarious. It was between my guys Jack and Alan. It was just great. It was hilarious because they're just such good guys, and Jack is just so happy before his fight. We're just, me and Justin were across from him, just like, oh my gosh. And we're cornering Alan, who's a paramedic out here, and they just start kind of just going at it, and I think Alan definitely loses the first round, right? Like, Jack's taller, longer. He's actually using his jab. Alan kind of forgets about his hands for a little bit. He's kind of darting in and out, doing a little dancing, pecking away with leg kicks, right? But we noticed that, just like I said, Jack, because none of the guys are really checking leg kicks. None of them have leg kick defense. So we go into the second round, and we're like, just leg kick the shit out of him. Just leg kick. That's all we want you to do is leg kick. We're like, leg kick. And no matter how, even if it didn't look clean, even if the technique didn't look great, we're just selling it hard. Yes, Alan. Yeah. Hashtag yes, Jake. Yes, Jake. Yes, Jake. I felt like Edmund in the corner there. It's like, yes, Alan. Yes. Just overly cheering everything, overly selling it. And I think it was a close round, and then the third round, I did definitely, I didn't think we got it. I thought we were down on rounds. So Justin's telling him we're down 2 rounds. We definitely need this third round, and we got to go for it. And we ended up getting a split decision. Now, it was interesting. This is interesting because not only would we get the close split decision, but folks, in the judges' defenses, I know this is a lot for fights that maybe you guys don't care about as much as me, but this was interesting. In the second round, in the third round, I should say. Jack didn't do much. He I don't know if he got tired because he showed to get tired in the second round. But Allen kind of just outworked him even though they weren't pretty. He just kept leg kicking him pretty much because the guy had no answer for the leg kicks. Even though they weren't the hardest things, they were one of the only things to really grade, right? And then in the second round, Jack actually got a takedown, landed more punches and more strikes on the feet. But Allen got a triangle locked up, and it was sloppy at first, and we didn't think he was going to catch the adjustment because sometimes Allen, we're like, no, your other left, but he credit to Allen, man. He listened, he adjusted the triangle pretty tight. Still didn't get it, but it was good enough to where they would have given it a catch in a jiu-jitsu competition. But as we know, we don't; those metrics aren't really rewarded on multiple levels, whether people commentating, viewing it, or deducing from the way the rounds are scored themselves by the pros, the judges, right? Not this time, folks. No, they clearly felt the triangle was the closest thing that won the round. So we're telling Allen he's down 2 going into the third. Again, why I try not to criticize these corners too much because we did it. We were giving our fighter technically wrong information. Although if you guys saw the fight, you probably would have agreed with us. And most people were really pissed. It was great because Jack's Irish, so he had this whole Irish mob there. And he works at one of these Irish bars in Vegas, so he had a bunch of local friends. And Allen is just the nicest kid in the world. And the split gets read, and it was the classic where you just see me and Justin go, what? We're just surprised our guy won, and everybody's like, what? And then Allen, it hits him late, even after he's kind of in shock, and we're I'm giving him his shirt. We're leaving the ring at this point, the octagon or the cage. And all of a sudden, this guy who's just kind of shy and sheepish, and I mean that in the complete complimentary form if you're listening, Alan, it just hits him like a ton of bricks. He just goes, the highest of highs in the sport, folks. He is just insanely happy. And he's like, I won! I'm like, yeah, they announced the decision a couple minutes ago at this point, Alan. You won. He's like, I won! And he's literally dancing outside, on the way to the back, as he's the people are pelting and throwing stuff. Boo! It was just a great dynamic, and I couldn't help but laugh and cheer. Yes, we got it. And I love Jack too. I love both guys, but it was fantastic, man. It was a good time. Sorry for the long answer. We'll get to this recap and get out of here under an hour and a half. But it was fantastic, man. It really lit up my passion for coaching and cornering. I really think it's something that I could be decent at with practice and given the proper time and reps, and would like to do. But I'm still doing a gambling podcast and things, and those lines are kind of tricky. And I try to be respectful of those. As we're saying right now, right? I definitely want to. I definitely want to stay on the right side of whatever ethics and values are in this sport. Not throwing shade or shit. It's just what it is. It's a foggy line. I'm just doing my best to stay stepping in it. But helping people like that is amazing. I love it. All right, let's get to the recap. UFC Vegas 65. Kennedy Nzechukwu was the newly minted main event versus Iwan Cutelaba. Again, trying to stay as professional as possible. Cutelaba's Extreme Couture guy. He had my guy Nick Sick corner him last second. Didn't matter if it was last second or I assumed that was going to be his guy anyways. But just because it's a Nick Sick guy, just because it's an Extreme Couture guy, doesn't mean I'm going to pick them. Doesn't mean I'm going to not critical to them. I'm going to try to do my job as best I can, folks. Even if that means hurting people's feelings, which I definitely do not want to hurt Cutelaba's feelings because he looks like he would. I mean, he doesn't look like he would smash me into a trash can 6 ways from Sunday. Thankfully, Eric, who could also is big enough to smash me and most people into a trash can. Thankfully, Eric is he understands this game, man. And I've had him on the show. We've talked about it before. So again, it doesn't make it easy, for sure. It can mess with my judgment, which I admittedly admit, and makes me a not the most reliable source, despite being somebody who, oh, maybe he's in his inside information. No, not going to do that here. Or even behind closed doors, because again, that stuff's it doesn't matter. People can still win fights. People can still lose fights. It really doesn't matter. Why would I burn relationships and possibly open myself up to any legal ramifications doing that? I never have, and I definitely won't. Definitely won't be. I never have in the past and won't be in the future. So, that being said, yeah, I do feel that that the not to get too sidetracked here, that the training does help my breakdowns and my value as a resource. In spite of that ESPN article where it just cites one phantom coach to be like, people are, oh wow, I had a feeling, so like, oh, training doesn't help you at all. It's like, no, that was from one phantom coach who was saying most fighters, and I agree with that statement, by the way, most fighters don't do good because, again, these biases are in play. Fighters usually pick with their heart, so that actually wasn't too much of a surprise, and hopefully didn't make people who do train doubt the edge that it gives them, because even if it doesn't shake out that way, as your boy and my results this year will show you, that doesn't mean you don't know what you're talking about, and your edge as training in the sport isn't going to help you. It will. Again, not massively. I never claimed it to be, which is why I'm not like a charge for picks guy or anything like that. I never have been, never will. Although, who knows, maybe I may have to start a Patreon here to stay afloat. But that won't. But even if I did do that, I mean, I wouldn't be a charger for picks and stuff. I wouldn't put myself behind the paywall, even if I did open one up for support. Point being. But yeah, sorry, long-winded, I know. Picked Nchukwu, though. Just can't trust Cute Lava, man. I was hoping he would win, obviously, for my boy Eric there, too. But yeah, just a wild man, right? Even though he's trying to wrestle more. And Nchukwu, just his evolution, a little more composed on the feet with his southpaw striking. He can switch and strike orthodox as well. And obviously that wrestling top game and really working his wrestling. And I've always had a soft spot for this guy too, whether I'm picking him or picking against him, because he takes care of his mother with ALS. My mother does not have ALS, but just any young man, in a position to take care of their madre, I definitely have a soft spot for. So much love to him and his team and his family. Waldo Cortez Acosta defeated Chase Sherman. I don't think it was as bad of a decision as the last one. I went to watch that again, by the way. I don't think I did a podcast before this, and I ended up picking Chase Sherman. But yeah, oh my gosh, again, back to why I was surprised to get it on leg kicks, because and we'll talk about this. It didn't happen this fight, although it happened to another fighter, where the leg kicks visibly chose to bother them, and yet they still win the round. Wait, isn't that impactful striking if you can make somebody shake out their limb or hold their body? Isn't that impactful striking? Yet Andre Ewell wins the round against Martinez. Waldo Cortez Acosta wins some rounds there against Vandera that he probably shouldn't have won, right? And I picked Waldo Cortez Acosta in that fight, so it's not even me being crying about spilt milk there. But it's isn't that effective striking? And more to the point, when you read to delineate what part of that paragraph of effective striking and grappling, by the way, folks, do we award more? As far as really getting into the weeds, well, when you do that, we award more immediately impactful things. And I know that body kicks and leg kicks are traditionally thought as attritional strikes, which they absolutely are. That doesn't mean they aren't immediately impactful strikes. In fact, when they show to make someone double over and hold the part they were hit, or someone, kick their leg back into commission, or start shaking it out and visibly dancing because they can't balance on one leg, like Waldo Cortez Acosta, it's do we have to stab the person in the leg too? And be like, are you seeing this over the fucking head shots that aren't even fucking landing? Sorry. What do we have to do to the leg, what do we have to do at this point, it's I don't know. But anyways, I had no problem with this fight. I don't even remember this fight. I'm glad I avoided playing the dog that I picked in Sherman. And this next one came through. Muslim Salikov defeated Andre Filo, baby. Filo. That's why I was bummed I didn't get to. I had some family in town too the week before Thanksgiving. And you know what? It was Popo Door, so I was like, you know what? Gotta go see. familia, much more important than this stuff, unfortunately, folks. So sorry for that. But yeah, not that I need to apologize, but yeah, I did miss saying feel a hoe, baby. Feel a hoe. Telling you guys, man, this guy gets hurt. This guy gets rocked. And I know I was on the wrong end of some of his fights earlier on, but my analysis did prove right, and I was able to cash on these last 2 times at least to make up for the 1, possibly 2 times I played against him. Yeah, but I think, Salikov KO cashed plus 300, which was nice. Missed the round 1 plus 600, which would have been nicer. But we came out with some profit. We had him by KO in the round robin, thankfully. Not round 1 by KO. We did have Jack Della Maddalena by round 1 to defeat Danny Roberts. That was in the round robin, which was nice. That cashed. So thank you, Jackie boy. Jackie Della put a hurting on a fella. And then, of course, the fight after that would have rounded out. And again, man, like, not saying that Derek Lewis would have won. Who knows how it is? He's completely. He reminds you, this is multiple times he's had fight day pullouts. Just not a reliable fighter, right? So believe me, this heavyweight MMA. Like, I'm not trying to count my ducks before they hatch, but like, come on, Lewis by KO in the small cage against a grappler who doesn't, have KO one-shot KO power on the feet. First time 5 rounds, like that would have been nice, but it wouldn't have mattered anyways because ZZ Bottom. This is why we call him ZZ Bottom. Not a sexual thing, folks. Nothing wrong if you want to be nothing wrong if you want to be a power bottom, baby. Do your thing. I'm just saying, he gets the bottom of the totem pole as far as the judging scoring, man. He comes out in a house and fire in round 1, almost like he's just like, because again, he has a lot of split decisions where, he actually does really well against tall guys, even if you don't think he beats them. Like, I think he has arguments against Paiva if you actually go back and watch. And I'm not one of these guys who got sold on his outside work. Like, I was one of the few. I think CJ Staffick was another guy who was keen on this. He does the work too. And yeah, I didn't think Zhao Gas won a lot of those big name fights that he fought outside of the UFC. But the results don't matter. He has good skills. Unfortunately, he throws to the legs into the body and he counters. And we know what happens there. I know I'm the only person that acknowledges it. Very few people actually do. But again, all these decisions that are close and contentious, whether you think so are not, but they just end up being labeled to by the masses, whether or not you agree with it, can we at least acknowledge that 9.99 times out of 10, every time the person who the majority of the people think should won or had an argument to win and didn't win, or the people who either worked the leg, the body, and or countered more, and or all of the above. It's just so many times that you don't have to be the better striker to win because big shots swing hard, make big sound. I think Rogan said rocked. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, being the better striker is like less friendly to the criteria. Especially like, and I understand, ring generalship as far as the flexibility for defense to be a reward as opposed to it being its own reward, which I agree and don't disagree with and have adjusted my scoring to for some time now. That's never been an issue. But yes, that is a part of boxing more. You have more forgiveness to pace issues and a much more educated in Muay Thai, where you also have much more educated knowledge of things that are properly blocked, but then also the effect of things that are blocked, right? Kicking the arms. From what I gather, they don't seem to have as hard of a time as, for example, boxing is adjudicating that aspect of their sport. But yeah, man, MMA, it's big punch, swing hard, win, And Charles Johnson is a slickster, a bit of a slickster himself, to be honest, but he was definitely the more athletic of the two, the bigger of the two. He had a lot of pop on his shots, or at least what seemed to be a lot of pop. And it just, again, like I said, like, okay, Dan, how are we supposed to, aside from the doubling over or the stomping of the leg, which actually happened in this fight. That's who I was referring to, Charles Johnson stomping his leg. It's like, and that was like the clearest round for Johnson, everybody said, was round 3, where he was stomping his leg. It's like, what part is effective striking, Like, I said that, like, okay, I get that you can't expect judges or anybody else, much less myself, a bodywork, connoisseur. I wasn't even aware. I mean, who could be aware in track in a fight as crazy, as chaotic as Jury and Glover? But oh God, they fucked over Glover. I wasn't even aware that, Glover was hurt to the body, right? How could I criticize the judges for not, and although I believe they actually had Glover, I think, winning that fight, right, going into it. But the point is, there are certain things that, yes, you can't expect the judges to know, and how would you expect them to grade that, Dan, as far as the body or some of the leg stuff, if you got a good poker face? It's like, okay, I get it, but how many times do we pontificate how much something is hurting somebody when it comes to head strikes? Like, not everything was hitting, much less hitting clean when Charles Johnson was flurrying on Zhumagulov. But Zhumagulov kind of had bad body language because he emptied the gas so hard in the beginning. And I know it's a bad look for anybody 135 or under to gas. And I was like, that's kind of his fault for gassing and giving these optics. But let's also remember, folks, the guy took 2 low blows amongst 2 eye grazes. And I know one of them wasn't technically a foul, but his eye was still grazed from it. And I love Bisping, but, I love his commentary. He's one of the best. But he wasn't doing double Z or the perception any favors, because he was doing that thing like where I don't... And I noticed, it's like we tend to be a little more cruel to people who, like, aren't likely going to, like, interpret our tweets or understand our language. So, like, we're a little more harsher on them. If they go back and watch the commentary, they'll be least likely to give him shit. I don't know if that's the case, but he was digging into ZZ, like his character almost going like, oh, he was just trying to get a breather. Like, it's like you need to acknowledge that, okay, it's not a foul and the ref either got it right or got it wrong by stopping or not stopping it. But what needs to be acknowledged is the fighter doesn't know whether it was a fist or not. He just feels that the damage, which he did sustain. It's not his fault whether he can call for it all he wants, even if there is no foul there, and he is trying to play the game. It's ultimately up to the ref. So I hate it when they put even more that's already unfairly on these fighters on the fighter, and then that also puts a negative tinge to where he's actually getting fouled, And it's like, and you see that attitude almost with the ref too, because then he actually does sustain an eye poke, and then they don't even call it. And then, yeah, he also sustains 2 low blows, so you have to remember that before we criticize the dude for gassing. Nevertheless, gassing, or the appearance of that you're gassing or running out of steam, is really bad optics, especially when a guy is flurrying on you, especially if even though he may not be hitting you that hard, it gives that illusion, right? And I get that. I get it. I don't even disagree. I'm not crying robbery here, and I'm not even disagreeing so much with round 3, but I'm bringing the obvious question again. What's effective? Like, it flurried him, but it didn't really lead to anything. Jalgis was able to get away and reset pretty much every time. He didn't even get really takedowns from it, if I recall. Like, it was more just Jalgis looking like he needed a breather, and that's when, conveniently Charles Johnson was turning it on. Like, that's really what it looked like, So there's an argument that you could go 30-27 Jalgas. There's an argument for that in there. So yeah, I know a bunch of people already beat this, and I'm glad that people are giving him love and recognizing. And a shout to my guy Craig Allen, who gave a tweet like this: the dude could be like easily 4-2 in the UFC, and he's been getting better every fight, going to American Top Team, spending the money. The guy's like I don't know if he's like a polygamist or whatever that word is, but he's got like multiple wives and kids. So I mean, Jalgas is. I mean, I know he looks like Kazakh Jim Norton. But don't let him fool you, man. Don't let the baby face fool you. He is the weird baby face fool you. He's pumping him out more ways than one. Slinging it more ways than one. Easy, Dan, we get it. He needs a lot of money for kids. But yeah, so it's like back to my thing. Like, forget me. Forget my bet, folks. I'm not crying robbery. Fuck me. Forget the fact that it tied in not just a single bet, but also a round robin that could have paid big. Forget me. This is another thing where it's like, it would have just done this person so much good. I know, Johnson would have been 0-2. The UFC, he's still a talented guy. UFC would have given him another shot. Flyweight's not deep. They need people. But Jalgas, man, he's on a big losing streak. And the guy needs money to pay. These guys only get half their check. He's got multiple families and shit. And then, he's a little bit older, experienced, all the bad luck, and he's having to go life and death in these fights deceptively hard guys, getting fouled like he's the second coming of John Dodson with a magnet on his balls. And the guy can't catch a break, man. Of course your boy sympathizes with those fighters. And I got to stop betting on people who I sympathize with and are the better fighters. I'm like, wait, this is the better technical striker? He has all the reasons to win in the world, technically on paper. And if there is a God in any of these religions that exist, this guy should win. Okay, bet the house on the other guy. Like, that is how I need to be going about this from now on. Because that's just how it goes, man. This is just fucking classic Dan Tom fingerprints all over it. I'm not even gonna be mad. If anything, I almost want to like personally write a letter to him and apologize for putting that for adding to his juju and sympathizing. Like, hey man, dude with some similar juju, I feel you, bro. I feel you. I know it's not gonna pay your bills, but I feel you. Yeah. So yeah, Jennifer Maya defeated Marina Moroz. I actually like Marina Moroz in that spot and was, thinking she could be a good parlay piece. I'm glad I avoided it. Props to you. Apologies if you didn't, and props to you if you were on the dog side. Miles Johns defeated Vince Morales. Avoided that. Ricky Tercios defeated Kevin Natividad. Picked Natividad, but avoided it. Good thing I did, because not that it was. There was more. From what I hear, there was definitely more of a reason to be up in arms about the Jalgas decision than this one, for sure. So nothing to be mad about here. Just glad I avoided it. Demopoulos defeated Maria Oliveira. Didn't watch it. Again, you can accuse me there. Sorry, just didn't watch it. Brady Heistand defeated Fernie Garcia. Didn't watch it. Neither did I watch Natalia Silva defeat Teresa Beleda. All right, before I go to PFL, I'm going to go back to the chat here and see what you guys got. Dan, did you corner this? Mad Gavin. I have been saying this to all WMMA channels and MMA channels that will listen. I believe that Zhang did not have the better grappling. This is Matt Gavin. I believe that Zhang did not have the better grappling than Esparza. She was just stronger and more athletic. Zhang, neither technical or smart. I think it's a little harsh on Zhang. I do appreciate the contrarian argument that, how much athleticism and strength really can compensate when talent and Esparza being underrated. I'm all for those aspects of the message, but, a little harsh there. But you're welcome to your opinion, sir. Appreciate you joining. Matt Gavin says, I predict she will lose bad to Lemos since Carla hit her 3 times. Lemos is that quiet, she's got that quiet kryptonite. I know Andrade beat her, and I picked her to beat her not by that method, standing arm triangle, granted, but Lemos, much more livelier. I almost wish I didn't take that week off, because I would have been curious to where I would have ended up on that fight, the Lemos Rodriguez. So, again, contrarian left field, if you want to say opinions, but I appreciate the sentiment on a lot of it, even if I don't agree with it all. It's fine, folks. We all don't have to agree. It's really okay. Matt Gavin also says, as an analyst, you must agree with me since I put in a lot of thought and effort into that take. Yeah, I mean, I agree with some of it, man, and I appreciate it. Yeah, man, I think Lemos is definitely a quiet sleeper. I think Esparza is underrated. Believe me, you don't gotta fight me to say that. But I will say that Zhang Yang is probably gonna come after you with torches if you blast. This is enemy territory, man. If you're saying bad stuff about Weili Zhang, the contrarian in me kind of salutes you, like the ball's on you, sir. But no, I appreciate your opinion, Matt Gavin. Jimmy Kudo, Dan, do you have beefs? I like Chicago beefs and Italian beefs. What do you say? Beefs and quarrels in the MMA community. I try not to. That's what Jimmy Kudo means. Yeah, I try not to. I try to, if there's something I don't like, I try to message the person privately. Which doesn't go any better, to be honest, and like, it's... I figure that's a professional and man-to-man way to do things, but then that ends up, going bad sometimes too. So I don't know. I'm just trying to stay away from beefs and work on me. There's a lot to cast judgment on, and rightfully so. But you know what? I think when I took that week off for the Lemos Rodriguez, I just worked on me, did some therapy stuff, went down a therapy rabbit hole, learned some stuff about myself, how to better improve upon my relationships, and it felt great. It's like we need to do that more, Men would rather fight in the cage than go to therapy. You have to see the visual to get that joke. There's love, folks. Don't get mad. Jimmy Kudo, I use VR as my movie theater and gaming. Okay, nice. VR. James Kendrick, I'm just a regular Samsung guy for my movies. I've been a hardcore Samsung guy for TVs. I still have a really good Samsung TV. And my original, the last time I shelled out for a home theater system from Best Buy was in 2009, I want to say, and that was a Samsung. And I recently gave that TV away to my neighbor across the street who's using it in his garage. So, like, I think, like, there's stuff from a certain years was amazing, and just recently from the service department to the quality of some of their stuff, that I know they got caught lying on some of their numbers. It made it hard for me to trust them. But I still have a sweet Samsung TV that I think I got in 2019. It's a 4K one. It's relatively new, but it's awesome. That's the one I got in my living room. I got a Crystal UHD one shortly after. I got that one in 2018, and then I got a Crystal UHD one. I want to say in like 2019 or 2020, and it was supposed to be better than that one. And it all threw me off because it was they weren't super expensive TVs for the Samsung lines, but it was supposed to be like technically better. And it didn't look as good as the other one, and sure enough, it burnt and crapped out. It was not an OLED or QLED or anything like that. It just died. So I actually ended up going with an LG C2, which is good for gaming, even though I don't game. But it's got like the Dolby Vision, Atmos, all that stuff. It doesn't have DTS. Sound, or so DTS-X, but the soundbar that I got for it does. So I'm gonna try and plugging it into I got the LG Meridian soundbar. I got the lowest end one. It still has Atmos, but like I think there's like 4 or 5 models up. They're like, you don't want to see any of the nicer ones? I'm like, no. If this is included in the deal and it's the cheapest, that's what I'm gonna get. And I'm actually happy with what I got. It ended up being like a ridiculous deal. I just didn't mean to shell out for it this soon, but no, it's just a real small, modest LG setup. But like I haven't had even like a soundbar or anything like that for like over a decade. So I'm like, oh wow, and I'm an actual movie lover and got a stupid library here to my right. So like I'm just getting back into that and actually looking at like technical specs on like sound and stuff. So I was just curious to the nerds in my life, and I mean that endearingly. If any of you guys are into like sound or video or film stuff, but I don't know, it's crazy out there, the technology, and it's crazy the pictures they can get. And right now with all the deals, so you can get like a really nice TV for cheap if you can swing it. So yeah, I was just curious what you guys use. Ghost Phantom Xbox One setup for Netflix is my jam. Nice. This is what my girl uses. I think she's gonna bring over her Xbox. We're gonna see how that looks on the TV. I don't have a PS5 or anything. I got my old PS4, but that looks fucking cool. I'm just been playing Metal Gear Solid 5, Ghost Phantom, or the Phantom Pain. Sorry, Ghost Phantom was just on there. I use Zhao. I use a 60-inch plasma screen, Disney Plus and Netflix. Nice. That probably looks real nice, the Disney Plus stuff on the plasma with the colors. 60-inch too. That's nice. Makoto Kyogoku. My setup is 3 large computer monitors for movies, so I can multitask. Very nice. Very nice. The C2, the model that I have, I guess they came out with a 42-inch this year, so you can use it as both like a dual computer monitor and gaming, which I thought was pretty cool. Gregoff. All right, back to MMA. Gregoff, how do you advise on how to deal with a volume jab? First off, I suggest everybody should have a volume jab as filler. That's something that my striking coach has really been working with me on, filling that space there. Also, do you have any counter combination MMA fighters to recommend I can study? Yeah, Jose Aldo, easy. I know, easy. Well, Dan, you're going to recommend the pound for pound technical King Goat. One of my more accurate reads predicting fights is predicting who can beat a good jabber, is because there's not many people that can jab, which means there's fewer people that can counter a jab. So that's why I picked, Moicano to lose to Chan Sung Jung and Jose Aldo, who people were writing off at the time because they were still older even then. But what do they do particularly well? They have hard hair triggers on the counter jabs, whether it's inside slips to the right hand if you're looking at a close stance matchup, orthodox, which you're most commonly dealing with, or your basic slip jabs. Maybe when they jab on themselves, you notice they'll kind of dip because they know that the counter's for the jab. So they'll be trying to split and dip as they throw their own jabs, and they are making sure to punish, to encourage you to shelf, and encourage your awareness of their counters in case you aren't already aware. To really reserve that, and you'll see that even against really veteran fighters. You'll see them like shell up because they get hit with some counter early they didn't like, and that can really mess with you. So how do you stop that? Counter. You should be designing your camps, your drills to counter even if it's not a jab. If it's a body kick is their strength, what are the counters to body kicks? We're going to work on our proper defense on hand positioning, right? We want to get our hands in place. We also want to have our cupping hands, so in case it hits and slides up, we're not getting hit to the head, the old Muay Thai check there. We also maybe want to step off and take off from it and use that to fire our 2-3 returns, right? Or if it's open stance, vice versa. Maybe it's a 3-2 is going to roll off there, depending on how you're blocking, what kind of kick. Point is, the best way is to develop the counters and hardwire those in. Hardwire them and make them triggers so that even after your opponent or after it's solved, it's not even a part of your mind. It's just, if anybody, whether you're in drilling in a class, you're sparring in a hardcore practice, or you're in competition, you just want it to be hardwired muscle memory, countering these things. Whether it's opponent strength or just something you notice you're getting hit with a lot in the practice room. Like, I'm getting hit with this a lot. What are the defense and what are returns off the defense, right? Shout out to the boxing coach Jamie Huey I was just working with this past week. He was just saying guys like the Alexis Arguellos, the real talented technicians in boxing and the art of striking sports, right? What do those guys do? Not MMA guys. Very few MMA guys do it. More, obviously, men and women. But what are the people from the sports previously, like as Alexis Arguello, whether it was defense or offense he was performing at that moment, he was always keeping himself in a position to return and not be off balance, keeping yourself in position so you can return with conviction. I think I just ripped that from one of the summaries and how I wrote up Jose Aldo and fighters like him. They keep themselves in position and work the counters. That is the best thing to do. Ghost Phantom, your opinion on hooking to the body off of a jab? That's my best attack since throwing my right hand to the body from orthodox. Off of your own jab. It's beautiful because if you're talking about throwing the jab yourself, or even just pumping that volume jab, getting their respect, getting their focus, and you get a nice sit down shot right to the stomach. I like doing the same thing from a southpaw stance to orthodox fighters, if that is what you're talking about. Hooking off of your own jab as well from the lead hand will keep that kind of upstairs threat and play off of the jab. So you got a jab, and you see them pairing that jab, right? You see it on their radar. So then you're going to step in with that same commitment and that same show, but we're going to kind of slightly hook it, right? Because something that I keep remembering myself, I always, especially my check hooks, I want to throw them from grandma's house. It's like, we can shorten these things up a little bit. You can go straight, you can be shortened a little bit. Jab, hooking off the jab, right? Just around the guard. And the opposite way, down below, kitty corner, playing off of that, hooking to the body with the power hand sets it up. So that works fine in MMA where kicks are in play. Obviously, maybe be a little more aware of a check knee or a switch kick coming up when you dip for your body shot. But yeah, that's applicable from boxing to kickboxing to MMA. Really great shout there. I'm going to get to this PFL knocked out, then I'll finish up you guys in the chat. I was bad. I didn't watch it. I want to shout Ariel Hawani with a tweet last night saying, we complain about paying MMA, but yet we're like, it's money's tight. I don't think he was shaming, and I definitely am not going to shame anybody for something that I didn't do because money's tight here myself. But I didn't buy the pay-per-view. I wasn't gonna, I got to watch where my money's being spent right now, and could I possibly expensive? Possibly, but I didn't work the event. I'm not going to. Just like I don't ask for credentials for events I don't work, I don't ask for expenses for events that I'm not working. It's not ethical. It's not right. Just like all of you guys, yeah, I probably could deserve more money. Just like you guys deserve more money, sure, but that doesn't mean we got to be unethical and go take it where it doesn't belong. So yeah, and if I wasn't going to expense it, I wasn't going to pay for it. So as hypocritical as that is, for me to follow up and then say and shout Ariel's message, I do want to shout it because I do think it's an important one, which is, I do think it's important to support these fighters, man, and be very happy for them, which I am. And when it comes to these things, so put your money where your mouth is and support smaller organizations. There's a surprising reward, from spectator sides to it, or as I learned from my participatory cornering side, just the growth and going up to that journey before things get ugly and serious in the UFC, right? So there's two different ways you can look at it. So much love to these organizations. I don't agree with their decision to go for pay-per-view. Obviously, I haven't agreed with a lot of their decisions, but they're out there, they're trying, and they're paying fighters. Right? That was more than we could expect. So, Larissa Pacheco defeats Kayla Harrison. Big upset, 48-47 across the board. Don't disagree with the scorecards. I think 2-4-5 for Pacheco, pretty clear. Whereas Kayla did enough to justify 2 cards in her direction, but that's about it. Good for Pacheco, man. I remember picking her, and one of my first, earlier losing bets was actually I picked and played her against Germaine Durandamy, which seemed so dumb. She just got whooped back in the day. This was 2014, before I was doing any of this publicly. This is when when I was just doing I did it for about a year to year and a half. These breakdowns with developing the format that you guys see on Junkie via my notebooks at home. And I would listen to podcasts like OG podcasts like the MMA Analysis and compare and see where I ended up and where they ended up, yada yada yada. But yeah, I remember her from way back in those days, and she would struggle to make 135. It was a big focus of her camp. I remember she was one of Thiago Akamura's girls, and to see how far she's come, massive props to her. Really happy for her. I'm not gonna hate on Kayla. She's, again, not my cup of tea. Doesn't really draw me in. Doesn't have the endearing personality or anything like that I'm big on. And that's okay, folks. That's completely fine. You guys don't have to like me. That's completely fine. You have to agree with me. Believe me, that's completely okay. But I'm also not going to jump on the hate train. I know she said some things that probably maybe you could argue maybe she asked for it, right? As far as some of the statements, but how much of that is her feeling the pressure to sell this, hard to sell pay-per-view, to be frank, right? So yeah, I'm not gonna shit on her or anything, but and if anything, I actually do appreciate outside of the cage what she does and has been through, and just being through for those in need and taking care of the kids. I don't know the exact what's what, but again, taking care of family members in need is something that I'll always be sympathetic to. So I only wish her nothing but the best, but I'm very happy for Pacheco. Very happy for Pacheco. Brendan Legnane, probably brutally pronounced that. Apologies. Defeated Bubba Jenkins. Cool story for him, considering the crap shake that he kind of got on the Contender Series a couple years back, and now he won $1 million into the PFL. How can you not be happy for him? Hey there, Elijah. Have you heard about Matthias Sheffield? You can TKO him in the heavyweight championships first round. I didn't watch that fight, but good for. Hey, what you do to Elijah? Do to Sheffield? Yeah. Aspen Ladd defeated Julia Budd via split decision. Sounded like, I didn't watch it, but this sounded like a classic. You would have figured, did Dan Tom bet Budd? Because it sounded like the better striker who landed cleaner shots and counters in the exchanges, got outweighed by aggression, volume, and slop and big sloppy shots. My favorite, from what it sounds like. I didn't have to watch the fight, but I know this animal of striking dynamics so well that I can just smell it without seeing it, folks. So I didn't even watch the fight, and I'm already sending out my sentiments for Julia Budd and Julia Budd backers. OAM got $1 million, defeated Stevie Ray via KO punch. Hopefully Stevie Ray's okay. He is a daddy to many as well. I think all of the same lady, but I think he's still got almost as much kids as Zhao Gas. That being said, so you never want to see that. But I am a big fan of OAM. Always liked him, and not gonna lie, I liked him even more. Because he started following me after he got much more into the gambling and stuff, and I appreciate being a reference there. So obviously I got love for another Brohim from the north. Of course, got love, nothing but love for talking about the South, the global South there, Pereira and Dubronx and stuff. But got some Northern brothers too in the mix. OAM. Joey Jojo Sabadoo C, who always reminds me of Joey Jojo Sabadoo. Oh, that's the worst name I ever heard. Hey, Joey Jojo. Sorry. Hi, my name's Bonnie Gumble. Sorry, folks. Little Simpsons there. Sabadoo C, who has been training at Extreme Couture, putting the work in under my guy Eric Nixick. So of course, happy for him. Don't know him, but happy for him. Defeated Delano Taylor to win the welterweight championship. Being unanimous decision. Rob Wilkinson went from losing to Israel Adesanya. Had that beef for the AFC titles. They were supposed to fight back on that regional scene. I don't know if I think Adesanya accused Rob of ducking him, I want to say, or vice versa, and then they settled it. And since then, Rob has just been on a tear, dedication, taking his Flintstone vitamins and just kicking ass over there, man. Defeated Omari Akhmedov, a Turka, via TKO doctor stoppage to win the... Omari Akhmedov's a big dude. I know he used to fight at middleweight, or welterweight, even as low as. He's a giant dude. He looks like a firm light heavyweight for sure. So good for him. Shaman. Come on, Shaman. Shaman Moraes defeated Marlon Moraes via TKO round 3. Oh, poor Marlon. Poor Marlon, man. Oh, the mighty. That is sad. Happy for Shaman. Come on, Shaman. But yeah, too bad for Marlon. Nathan Schultz defeated Jeremy Stevens, Arm Triangle. Sounds like Stevens just out-grappled, Didn't really do much to that hole throughout his years. Not really going to expect him to do it now. Magomed Karamov apparently defeated Gleason Tebow, or did he? Would have been awesome to just see Tebow just get another robbery. Would have been great. Tebow, who apparently, according to my guy Wes Colvin, I didn't watch this fight, but apparently he wasn't skipping any of the mountain yams in his welterweight run. Oh, Gleason Tebow. I mean, be a fly on the wall. Joe Rogan watching him. Actually, no, I don't want to see Joe beat off, because that's practically what he's doing. Tebow or Chet Congo or some of his classics would fight or step on the scale. Dakota Dicheva defeated Catherine. Sure. Biagio Ali Walsh works with my guy Roman Isbell. I believe he's a Roman fighter. There, of course, at Extreme Couture as well. Biagio Ali Walsh defeated Tom Gracer via TKO punch round 1. That was a nice one. Shout out to that guy, Extreme Couture guy. So that kind of recaps the MMA. Shouts to Ryan Wegg. I want to shout out to my guy Rob G, Robert Grief, who didn't need to, but he cashed big on Salikov by KO and decided to show his appreciation. He went to mixedmartialanalyst.com, which supports this here program and hosts this podcast. That is free, remains free, will remain free. Again, even if I do support a Patreon to help keep my ass afloat to try to keep you guys content, because sadly it's going to that. The bulk of my content, the picks, the plays, will still get to you. Don't worry. This is all going to remain free. But if you do want to support, there is a PayPal link there, as well as at DanTomMMA. I have a link tree on Twitter, and there's a secure PayPal donation if you want to donate straight to the show, or through no cost of your own, because it's the holiday season, doobie, and you're doing any shopping at either onit.com or amazon.com. I'm not proud of it, but hey, we all got to use these things sometimes. If you want to do it, ease your conscience, or just feel better about yourself by supporting a show, someone who could use it for no extra cost to yourself, all you do is go to mixedmartialanalyst.com. You can even bookmark it, mixedmartialanalyst.com. Which is a link to all my work. And on the right-hand side, you just toggle, scroll, shift down there to the right-hand side. You'll see the PayPal, and you'll see right below that, on it, and Amazon click-throughs. You just click the link. That's right. One extra click after going to the website is all you need to do, and it puts you right to the website. You log in, do all your shopping, and at no extra cost, it sends a percentage of whatever your purchase is right back to this here program. On it won't say, none of them says any of your information. On it doesn't give me anything, but Amazon does give me these fun little affiliate links where it tells me the products you purchased. It doesn't say who purchased it. So if you take a shot, here comes a David Carradine joke again. If you want to be David Carradine, have your one night in Bangkok, you want to buy the silk kimono gi, the vibrating nunchucks, the rope that's easy on the neck, whatever your autoerotic asphyxiation process is. However you want to justify that in the martial arts world, that's none of my business. That's all yours. You can buy all your gear through the link, mixedmartialanalyst.com, Amazon link, and no one will know it's you. I will pontificate on your purchases as I'm about to do here before we get out of here. That, of course, will happen, but no one will know it is you, and you will supported a good cause. So, again, I know I already missed the Black Friday stuff, but it's still Cyber Monday, and let's be honest, it's going to be sales from here to Christmas. So if you do any Christmas shopping through on it, you're buying some kettlebells, some protein, or you're buying kettlebells, protein through Amazon as well, right? You buy anything through there. You could probably buy child labor and choose your race, age, and back strength. Wow, Dan, that was really dark. I'm just saying we're probably getting close to there with Amazon, the way they run their labor. Wow, Dan. This is why I don't have sponsors too, because I can't not simultaneously shit on my affiliate links while doing this and revealing and acknowledging dark truths. But here we go. But yeah, you guys can ease your conscience however you want through myself. All right. Somebody bought Business Statistics for Dummies. I appreciate that. Thank you. Somebody bought Schneider Slider Rave XB Extra Broad Ballpoint Pen. Someone bought Scar Cream Gel, retinol. I probably could use that. I've got a lot of scars myself. Someone bought Pet Friendly Stain Remover. Someone bought Bark Ball. Rubber ball with peanut butter inserts. That was under the pet and that's under all pet and stores there. Thank you for that. Kitty litter. Oh, we got some cat representation. Okay, that's the last one under the pet stores. Someone got a 25-pound bag of kitty. That's pretty heavy. Wow, thank you for buying that. Appreciate that. Clicking through the link there. Let's see what else we got here. And go to the next page. Movies. Dunkirk Ultra HD. I already own that. That's a good one. I actually was going through a list of good Ultra HDs to buy that has the good sound and video, and because some of them they didn't do a great job at scaling, which I'm reading my beloved Die Hard. Apparently they did a really bad job. You can't even tell the difference between their Blu-ray copy, which already they didn't do a great job as far as the formatting for that. I got to hit my guy Combat Chronicles, Kyle McLaughlin. He's always tweeting about those formats and stuff too. Somebody got that. Someone got Saving Private Ryan. I think we're going on a war kick here, but I imagine those are probably the better movies if you've got your home theater set up. So sounds like, again, I asked for a reason, folks. Seemed like a pertinent question amongst my audience. I usually have a kind of a healthy dose of movie buys here. 1917. I guess. Wow, that was only $9.99. That's crazy sales. They knocked down all the prices of these bad boys. That's why. Oh, very smart of you guys. Someone got Snatch 4D. Ooh, I've got some bit volume older version from before they even did Blu-rays of my Snatch copy. I may jump in on that for that price. Only $14.99. It's marked down from $40.99. Holy crap, that's pretty damn good. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, solid Blu-ray that was on the list as well as far as top 10, as far as quality audio, get bang for your buck. That one was marked down. And Watchmen Ultimate Cut. See, I'm looking at this one now, and I heard bad things about the Ultimate Cut. There's a bunch of animation and random crap in there, but I want good quality of. There's certain visual in the music. The Watchmen seemed like it would be. I'm not the biggest Watchmen fan. I think I hated it the first time I saw it, and then I grew a weird liking to it because I appreciated the Ultimate Timeline and the soundtrack, some of the visuals. Oddly enough, for a weird superhero movie, oddly enough, it's one of my favorite love scenes. And a 5 and a 6. Hallelujah. That scene is awesome. It's really well done. Thank you guys for buying that. Appreciate you. All right, I'm going to finish up the chat and get on out of here. Jimmy Kudo. Don't go, Dan. Your content is always great, win or lose. I appreciate it. I'm trying not to, Jimmy Kudo. I'm trying not to, man. You just wish me luck as far as this regrouping and potential negotiation period coming up. That's all I can say. Makocho, and just keep supporting me any way you can. Again, money's tough. Don't worry about that, folks. Just any way you can is appreciated, though. Even with the likes and subscribes. That is all you can do. Believe me. Appreciate it. 5-star rating and reviews on Apple Podcasts. Appreciate those. Makoto Kyogoku. Dan, I hope your podcast sticks around forever. I appreciate that. I love having people to talk to. I genuinely missed you guys, which is the reason why I'm still deciding to go at a random time. And I'm still so happy you guys are here on board. Makoto says, also, will you ever put timestamps on the chat reads? Chat reads are a little tougher. Listen to your podcast multiple times, especially when you answer our questions. You know, I want to try to get them better for the fights, which means I'm going to have to be a little more disciplined on when I do access the chat reads and acknowledge you guys instead of going free-for-all. I haven't had any complaints, but I imagine there is a sect, and I don't blame you guys, who don't like this, particularly for the Breakdown podcast. You want to maybe just get to the gambling. You want to get to my picks and plays, which I do go at the end for you guys, even without the timestamps. And I timestamp when they start. But now that I'm mixing in the live chat, it muddles it, right? So I got to be better about that because I do want to timestamp for those because I know people are hardcore about that. And I appreciate when people do that. But again, I got to do playlist updates and a bunch of stuff, and that is amongst it. It is amongst on the list. It's just there's a lot for me to get through, and it's just your boy here, you know, the boomer in disguise here, doing his best not to fumble and drop the ball. But yes, I do want to do that, and hopefully maybe that in turn makes me more organized on when I acknowledge the chatters, and I appreciate you guys, or almost to my watch hours, which means I'll be able to monetize, which will help prioritize if I get any busier, because that's another thing too. If I get busier, it's going to be hard to acknowledge everybody. I'm still going to do my best, regardless if you put $1 in the chat or not. I'm not going to, fucking segregate it with money to that point. But, yeah, it will help and to support and delegate, delineate, whatever word you want to use, sure. Martin Pedersen, Kayla hurt herself last night with her body language. Super close fight, but she acted like she lost. Enjoyed it. Yeah, she definitely, which is crazy because she's competition is so second to none. But the fact that she's so critical on herself translates through her body language. And, it was one of her most physically demanding fights, so it's hard to keep that self in check. Ghost Phantom, I think you'll agree with me on this. Rematches are completely different fights despite them involving the same people. Absolutely. Harkening back to that point and reinforcing it, Ghost Phantom is. I agree. RJ Bertle, your weight loss from 210 to 173 in a couple of months. That's great, Dan. Keep up. Thank you. I'm back up to 184 after having 2 pounds worth of a smoothie, granted. But yeah, from 173. Yeah, I'm about 10 pounds up from that right now. So I got to be careful and not lose the momentum. I'm planning on staying between 170 and 185 just in general. So that's why this week I'm trying to get back to my smoothie before this. But part of the reason why I was late because my smoothie decided to blow up in front of my face because Vitamix does not have a safety on their lids, which suck. And I tried to hit the stop button to reset it, and for whatever reason, it made it go and blew up my smoothie right when I was midway through it, wasting a bunch of ingredients and helping make me be late for this. Dan, what appliance is not going wrong? I'm telling you, this is why I can't watch Anger Management, Meet the Parents. These kind of movies are not funny because they hit too close to home. Because that character is me. Just constantly, no one is going to believe this. I feel like I'm in a bad dream. Ramundo, my man, Ramundo Martin, from the MMA Junkie Radio Familia. Ramundo in the house. James Kendrick, do you ever Granby roll with a katana like Yuri? No, but I Granby roll all the time to roll out my neck, and people always look at me funny for it and assume I'm going to do something super explosive because I got my wrestling shoes on and that I'm a wrestler. And they can't tell that I'm old because I have this young face, and then they go super hard on me in the gym. It's really fun. Spart Helder, what is your opinion on the UFC putting effort into pay-per-view but lack of effort into LFA at the Apex? Right, it feels that way. It's been that way. I've definitely spouted out. I'm amongst the Luke Thomases of the world where we've been probably saying this more ad nauseum for longer, so I try not to beat a dead horse too much because a lot of you just enjoy having content every week, and that's fine if that's your gig. I've just seen what it does to the space. It burns a lot of the good people out. It's not very kind to the talent. I imagine it's burning off a lot of the staff who are now being tasked with this stupid white power league, or Dana White Power slap league. Sorry. Sorry, it's right there, the joke. But yeah, like, and like, apparently, I don't know this, folks, but I'm just partly speculating, let's just say. But like, which is not a crazy speculation to say. I don't have any inside information, folks. Nor would I give it. Everything is alleged. But yeah, like, they put so much on. That's why I'm saying, like, you can not like the UFC or not like Dana, but like, just, I try to acknowledge that there's just so many good people that are overworked people that work for the UFC, and they absolutely deserve more love than they get. And they do a fantastic job, and I don't think it's fair to condemn those people, the geese with the so-called gander. But yeah, they're doing their best out there. It's I don't have an answer for it. It's like, you can't put it back in the box. The content deals are done, and not only are they not adjusting it back to the Dana White Power slap league, is that they're just adding more, even whether it makes sense or not. I just don't even want to put it in the universe, I may or may not have talked to a matchmaker at another, at a smaller pro-am show under the Fight Bass umbrella that talked about, expressing interest in that. And I was just like, yeah. I kind of just went the other way in the conversation. I just kept talking about other stuff, and I was like, I did not want to sprinkle any inadvertent water onto those thoughts. So that's all I'll say on that. Barton Spackle Crisp. Hello, Barton Spackle Crisp. That's a fucking cool name. No more Bart license plate, only Bortz. Martin Peterson. I turned on Adesanya after seeing him live for Lackluster Times. Vittori twice, Yoel, and Cannonier. His response to his fans after 276. Those tickets were too expensive. Wolf tickets. All those things you said, Martin. Perfectly valid reasons. Not just you're more than welcome to your opinion as a blanket statement, but that you're showing your work on your opinion too. More than okay. And no shade to anybody that feels that way. Those weren't great performances, and I've spoken about this before, that his kind of defensiveness, he's had it in victory, where I was like, man, enjoy your victory. And I think that saltiness kind of only amplifies, as you would expect. It's human nature, He's doing his best out there. Who knows how we would act in front of the camera or this or that. But yeah, it definitely didn't make him much fans, and maybe probably fueled some of that, turning against. Not that gives green light for other negative things, right? But yeah, complete valid reasons there, Martin, and anybody else that shares that, no problem. Cambropolis Rose and elk and bison sounds delicious. It was amazing. I keep cooking my girls like perfect, and then I cook mine like not the greatest, but the meat and the Hawaiian finishing sea salts, ooh, just doing my own sprinkle on there. Makes it so rich. Been doing good at mashed potatoes too. I know that's not hard to make, but I'm happy, making them from scratch. I'm not growing my own potatoes, so it's not scratch, I guess, from that. But you know what I mean. It's cool. Are you part of Joetopia or Rogan Town? No, I'm not a part of Joetopia or Rogan Town. I haven't listened to his podcast since he made the switch to Spotify or whatever. Let's see. All right, I'm going to 148. I'm going to a couple more questions and I'm going to get out of here, folks. All right, let's see. Who hasn't gotten in here? I don't bet, but I bet Dan has the best lever kick in the gym. No way. My power is nowhere near anywhere the best. But I did get when I did spar with my guy Justin, who was in that first fight I was talking about. I was originally paired up with one of the more harder sparring sessions with no ground, just striking or whatever. He gave me some good feedback, said I got him to the body good, which made sense. I mean, that was my focus again: body kick building, front kicks and tie kicks, and changing off the looks and levels from that with punches. So yeah, I definitely focus on the body. That's not a surprise, but no, not best anything. No way. Barton Spackle Crisp, just 'cause I like your name. And what is easier to execute, a blast double or a upper body clinch takedown with trips? Upper body clinch takedown with trips easily. In the YT MMA community, YouTube MMA community seems to side with double leg is easier. I don't agree with that. It takes more energy, and it requires, if you're dealing with back or knee issues, or even shoulder issues, you're going to have to require a lot more finishes. As an older guy who deals with some of those issues, I'll tell you that the trip takedowns are a lot more kinder on those joints. Not that you're not still pivoting, and not that you're still not hurting your shoulders and requiring a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. Much easier. Jersey Lee. I had the unique opportunity to go to UFC 281. It was very surprising that all the people around me were leading a Wei Li chant, and they went crazy when she won. That was very surprising for me too, especially, given the history of her with crowds, U.S. crowds. I know obviously there are some geographical differences with Florida and New York, but that much of a difference was surprising, even with the Chinese contingent in New York. Jersey Lee adds, said, I was at UFC 248 as well, and most of the fans were yelling at Wei Li Corona at the open workout. Wow, it was even starting back then, even before it hit US, they were giving her shit for it, huh? Jesus, fans are brutal. Do you find it interesting that she is very polarizing? I mean, interesting, yes. Surprising, no. Because I've spoken on this a lot at nauseum, as far as geopolitically where China stands, especially with this country. That's been the hot button for whether politicians wanting to gain traction for their messages, to gross media supplementing these things for their SEO and putting China in there because that's gonna get people pissed off. I was recently listening to Behind the Bastards podcast, at Bastards Pod, great podcast, about one of the guys responsible for some of the Bitcoin fuckery that's been going on. And surprise, that guy had some anti-Chinese stuff going on. So you have that, and then you have, speaking of, then you have just in athletic space, especially in Western athletic spaces, Asian athletes have always gotten it bad. We've seen this from Europe. We had the the Italian soccer team doing the slanty eyes thing, right? Just recently, one of the Olympic Games or whatever, right? We had some other European thing like commentating, like doing some like super racist commentary over like the Korean teams during that. We've had stuff dating all the way back for when we had the what was that guy? I was gonna say Mao. Yeah, Chairman Mao played in the NBA. It was a 7-foot Chinese guy. All I remember is like Shaq, and Charles Barkley saying super racist shit. God damn it, fuck Shaq. Sorry. I'm so big. I wonder what his new documentary is. Oh, it's just so big. Oh, he's so big. Yeah, I'm so big. Oh, but he's so big. That's all it's fucking about. But yeah, Shaq would just say racist shit on Inside the NBA, him and Charles Barkley, which coincides with some personal stories that I've shared on this podcast of Shaq being legit racist, not just to Asians, but Asian children, just being fucked up to children. How about like not just signing shit for children? Forget the race part even. Like I/family members of mine have witnessed Shaq personally doing this. So fuck Shaq. It's cool if you like him. Just know that's part of him. Maybe he's grown. I will allow people to grow. But yeah, there's just, speaking of, as you bring that up, yeah, like there's just so much, there's a long history of it in a bunch of different sports. So I've gone on this diatribe before, and that's about the last I'll get into it now, because I don't want to end the show on a negative note, Jersey Lee. But that is basically why we're surprised, and why probably you're surprised why we heard Wei Li chants. But it's a good welcome change as opposed to like the racist shit and that we normally get to hear. So that's cool. But yeah, we'll see. I've also been on Drake Riggs' show on MMA Mania. You and him are very cool. Thank you. Drake Riggs is a really cool guy, and it's a compliment to be in cool people's company, mentioned in their company. Hopefully, I will be in his company and get him on this show in this coming year when I get back on track here, folks. I was like, my thoughts on Muslim. Like, whoa, what are you guys trying to get me in trouble here? No, Thoughts on Muslim Salikov's one look, shoulder feint, jump back, then counter punch when the opponent moves forward. Is it a style you like? It's a style that, you could definitely pick apart for some problems and risks that he puts himself up for. But, I definitely appreciate it more because it's got a bit of that, if you want to do that karate generalization, not that he's a karate guy. He's a Sanda guy, but he's got a bit of that hopping in his style, right? There are pros and cons to it. So it's more of a preference thing. I don't want to say all good, all bad. I like it, but I also acknowledge the problems that you can be, and he opens himself to some hard shots because of that style. When it works though, right? So, there's that. All right. Jimmy Kudo. It seems like no matter how much Zhang Weili wins dominant fashion, peeps in MMA will still downplay her performances. Yeah, I mean, you could say that about a lot of things, a lot of people too. But you guys give Zhang Weili plenty of love in this chat. I would like to think I've stuck up for certain talking points involved with her. So hopefully we make a decent team there. But time may come where I pick against her too. Come time. So it's okay to be critical. It's okay to not agree with each other's opinions, folks. Let's see here. James Young, Dan Tom loves Korean tech. That's right, baby. Korean tech. Korea strong. The LG, baby. Doing some good things for affordable too. Like it's crazy. Like, as much as I was joking about my you could throw me in kind of the big truck guy category. It's like believe me, this is the last gas vehicle that I'm going to purchase. Not that I can afford a next vehicle anytime in the near future, but my next one will be an electric in addition. And the idea is to keep the FJ as an investment or for the apocalypse hits. It's my zombie vehicle. But I just want to get an electric vehicle, like definitely not any of the mainstream ones that are really pricey. I'd rather go like Korea is just a sweet spot for like bang for your dollar. Bang for your buck, so to speak. So they got a lot of good tech coming out of there. James Young, Gerald Harris lost the belt. Glad Harris lost the belt. She born AF. She could whip my ass till I use the only thing she's terrified. Oh, whoa. Easy. Can't read that. Oh, sorry about that, folks. Burgundy will read what's on the monitor. You can get me in trouble here, folks. All right. Let's see. All right, Ramundo. I thought Bud won. I respect your opinion, Ramundo. So, a lot of people's opinion that I do respect actually thought she won. So that is another reason why I don't feel too bad pontificating on that. Lastly, we got Ghost Phantom. We got a troll in the chat. Dan, this guy's been saying the same thing on Drake's show and trolling him. Oh, no. Yeah, that's not good. I'll have to take care of that. So, sorry, guys. I have a hard time monitoring the chat. Yeah, I don't know. I apologize, folks. I'll try to monitor this chat as best I can, but yeah, and we don't. It's okay if we don't agree, but just hopefully there's no any racist stuff or any Let's keep it friendly. I know we try to make our jokes, but keep it friendly, folks. Yeah, man, I did miss chatting with majority of y'all, and more of you popped up than I expect for this impromptu show on a Saturday. So thank you guys. We'll be back next week for Holland and Thompson. Till then, just try to be kind to each other. It's a crazy kind of just messed up world out there a lot of the times, So just try to be kind to each other. Make sure we're punching up and not down. When we're trying to have our fun. And, whether it's a friend who needs an ear to talk to, this time of year can be very depressing for a lot of people. Doesn't matter if it's a macho male, looks like he's got his things together. Like, it's okay to talk about your problems if you're a man. And we definitely also got to make sure that we're sticking up for the marginalized groups, from my Jewish brothers and sisters, the Stop Asian Hate, and all the bullshit that gay, trans, LGBTQ community has been going through. So my love to all of you this holiday season, and hopefully you can spend some time with some friends or family or whatever you consider that to be. I wish you guys nothing but the best, honestly. We'll get back to work next week. Until next time. Protect your neck.